What made you regret adopting your kid? Connor had been our son for 16 years when he asked the question we'd been dreading. I need to know about my birth parents, he said over dinner. My husband Henry and I exchanged glances, hesitating for a moment. Of course, sweetheart, I said, nervous he'd leave us for them. We hired a genealogist who specialized in adoption cases. Henry even took time off work to help Connor submit DNA samples to 3 different services. His therapist said this kind of identity exploration was perfectly normal for adopted teenagers. Within days, Connor turned his room into what looked like a detective's office. Printouts covered every wall with red string connecting photos and documents. He'd stay up past midnight on adoption forums and Facebook groups. Found something, he'd shout, racing to show us another potential lead. We were proud of his dedication. We thought we were doing the right thing. But when the real information came 3 months later, everything shifted. Connor's hands shook as he took the genealogist's call. When he hung up, his face was blank. She's dead, he said. Overdose. And my father Jonas is in prison. He went quiet for so long I thought he'd stopped breathing. Then he smiled. At least now I know why I am who I am. That's when everything changed. Connor started talking about genetic destiny. He read about his birth father's assault charges and suddenly picked 3 fights at school that week. It's in my blood, he'd say, examining his bruised knuckles. You can't raise it out of me. When I tried to hug him, he'd pull away. You're not my real mom. You stole me from my real life. When his blood relatives wouldn't acknowledge him, he got desperate. He found his birth mother's sister on Facebook and sent 47 messages before she blocked him. Then her daughter. Then her ex-husband. Each rejection made him angrier. They're my blood, he'd scream. His therapist recommended family counseling, but Connor refused. What family? He'd sneer. Henry found printouts under Connor's mattress showing his birth father's trial transcripts with highlights and notes. There were articles about children of criminals and statistics about genetic predisposition to violence. The thing that scared me most happened 3 weeks later. I woke to find him standing in our bedroom doorway, just watching us sleep. Sometimes I wonder what my real parents' house looked like, he said, then walked away. That's when I started locking our bedroom door. I should have done more. I was only doing laundry on a normal Tuesday when I found the letters hidden in his pillowcase. There were dozens of them. Connor had been writing to his birth father in prison for months, and his father Jonas had been writing back. The letters made my Shenriach drop. Jonas was teaching him things: how to hurt people without leaving marks, how to manipulate psychiatric evaluations, how to make weapons from household items. The last letter was the worst. Your fake parents don't understand what we are, Jonas wrote. Blood recognizes blood. Do what needs to be done. I sat at the kitchen table for an hour, reading and rereading. When Connor came home from school, I was still sitting there. I heard his key in the lock and my heart started racing. Part of me wanted to put the letters back and pretend I'd never found them, but I couldn't move. Henry was working late. I should have waited. You went through my things? Connor's face transformed into something I'd never seen before. Those are private. He's my real father. I tried to explain why contact with Jonas was dangerous, but Connor grabbed the letters from my hands. I'd never seen him violent before, not once in 16 years. But when I reached for them, he shoved me hard. I hit the kitchen counter and fell. Pain shot through my ribs. I tasted blood. For the first time in 16 years, I was afraid of my own son. This wasn't Connor anymore. Everything happened so fast after that. Connor, I gasped, but he was already grabbing more things. The genealogy files, his laptop, clothes. I'm going to see him, he said. He's getting out soon. He wants me to live with him. My real father wants me. I tried to tell him Jonas was lying, that his release was years away, but Connor threw a dining room chair at me. It shattered the window. The neighbors called 911. When the police arrived, Connor attacked them. It took 3 officers to restrain him. You don't understand, he screamed as they handcuffed him. They're not my real family. My father says I'm just like him. It's in my blood. You can't change blood. The last thing he said before they drove away broke my heart more than anything. You're not family. You'll pay for stealing me. That was 10 months ago. Connor spent 8 months in juvenile detention. The counselors say he's making progress, but he still insists we're not his real family. He writes us letters sometimes. They all say the same thing. We're not his real family. Jonas got 7 more years for soliciting harm to minors through those letters. Connor turns 18 next month. He'll be free to contact Jonas again. I tell myself we're safe now. Henry installed new locks and security cameras. We still love our son, but late at night I check his old room and test the window locks.